everyone. My name is Matthew. I am a Lyme warrior fighting this thing called Lyme just like yourself. I have Lyme, Babesia, 2 forms of Bartonella. Seeing that curing Lyme is kind of hard and that there's not one right way of doing it, I created a poll, and it took a long time to get a fair amount to do it because I wanted to not know who was actually doing it. I wanted to keep it kind of a blind study. I finally have around 50 or 60 people who've done it. I want to share the information with you, and hopefully it helps you on your Lyme journey. Not a scientific test. Say that right now, it's not a scientific test, but it does kind of illuminate some interesting points, and I think a lot of people will really benefit from it. Let's take a look at the data. Okay, so I tried to put this in chronological order, if that makes sense, in terms of the initial stages of Lyme, pre-diagnosis, diagnosis, and then kind of treatment. How long did you have symptoms before diagnosis? The majority said 6 months to 1 year. So that's a great sign. Things are getting caught often, but then the next highest is 3 years or more. Was there a high level of stress or one major event that was stressful, death, divorce, car accident, etc., right before or as your Lyme symptoms manifest? I know for me that was very true because I didn't remember ever getting bit by a tick. It was during COVID and life was unbelievably couldn't have been more stressful. I found this interesting that 39 out of 53 said yes. How many incorrect diagnosis, I don't think that's the correct spelling. How many incorrect diagnoses did you receive from a doctor? Or I guess one. Did you receive from a doctor or nurse practitioner before Lyme co-infections were determined? So 9 people said 4. That was the largest response, fair amount. As a result of any there's that word again. I took gabapentin. I'm sorry, don't judge me. It was a long day. How many incorrect medications were you prescribed from a doctor or nurse practitioner before Lyme and co-infections were determined? So how many incorrect medications? 18% said 6 or more, and I was one of those. Do you know or have an approximate idea what part of the USA you were in when you were bit? 17%, so 9 people said the East Coast, but the same highest percentage had no idea. Again, I find that pretty telling, and that's 53 responses. These aren't people coming out of the same states. I think that the fact that so many people said so many different things, that's also really telling. Again, this is not a published study. It's just information as we're all over here trying to figure things out. Do you remember being bitten by a tick? Out of 53 responses, it is exactly even. How crazy is that? Because we all looked at doctors who said, well, you weren't bitten by a tick, so it's not Lyme. Was there a bullseye rash at the time of the bite? 43% yes, 37 said no, and this is where I was, 10 unsure. I truly don't remember if I was ever bit by a tick. I've been on the earth 41 years. I don't remember where I just set my coffee cup, but I truly don't ever remember it. Were you ever told by a doctor or a medical professional that your symptoms were not Lyme when in fact they were? 31 out of 52 said yes, more than one doctor. What I kind of find too is it helps me knowing this, that my story is not different. As soon as you hear other people have gone through this, it's kind of relieving. The pain's still there and the symptoms are still there, but you know you're not alone. Were you ever hospitalized as a result of Lyme and co-infections? 22 out of 53, more than once. So vast majority have at least once. Were you ever in the ER as a result of Lyme and co-infections before having the diagnosis? It's a large majority. Were you ever in a psychiatric hospital as a result of Lyme and co-infections, but before having the diagnosis? Majority no, 32, but 20 yes. Approximately how many medical doctors and medical professionals did you consult before you were given a Lyme diagnosis? And the majority 10 plus. 9 people said 4. So that's a lot of doctors. That's a lot of appointments being made right there. I mean, I'm going to assume each doctor is at a minimum 150, so how much is that? $600 right there, just in being told what it's not. How many years did you treat Lyme before you began to see improvement? And so within a year, 18 out of 51 said, so within a year of treating. That's, I think, a great stat. That just shows that it can put you on that that momentum to get well. The next highest, 2 years. It is a long thing. It's not one that you pop an aspirin and it's gone. If you commit and find support groups, and I think, your mind, your body, your soul, your diet, all those things, once you kind of coalesce them together, makes a big difference. But I do know, like doctors, everyone said it would take a long time. So this is kind of a, just for lack of Western, Eastern medicine. Somebody's going to be offended by that. I don't know. Traditional Western medicine, herbal medicine, or a combination. I know I've done a combination. Somebody didn't. None got cured. Cool. They got a story. They're the person in the Lyme group who has that cure-all. Like some brand of some water container, and like, this cured my Lyme. I was spending $100,000 a year, and then I spent $89.50 on this. Lyme is gone. But I've heard everything. I've heard hyperbaric. Are you taking supplements? 92% said yes. If you used herbs, which of the following protocols did you use or used? These are all people I've read a little bit about, but not a lot. But this Brunner, I think that's kind of like who they all base off of. I think, if I'm remembering. This is who I'm following now, but I think a lot of it comes, and I should know. How many medications, herb supplements were you or are you on per day when you began to see improvement? Wow, 2 to 5. That's the majority. 18 people out of 51, they were on 2 to 5 medication, herbs, or supplements a day. Vast majority. But then the counter to that is it's like 11 to 20. And I'm probably in that category. Were you seeing any additional specialists besides a lot? So this actually should be are you? And it looks like a lot are. Be interesting to know how many specialists everybody's seeing. I'm probably leaning like way in. Were you seeing a psychiatrist, counselor, or mental health professional during or at the time of your recovery? 37% say yes at the beginning or close to the start of recovery. So there seems to be, I don't know if there's any correlation. I don't know what other choice you can have on it. So it does make sense to kind of be equally split. I'm questioning my own poll. This is the one I like. How important was a positive mindset to your mental health journey? 51 responses, 31 out of 51 said extremely, and then the next high amount was a fair amount. So nobody said not at all. So I have heard this over and over again. The people who seem to be cured, to me, have a very positive mindset. And if they're cured and it's not positive, they're positive they know the cure for Lyme. How important was faith or a spiritual growth mindset to your overall health journey? Over half said extremely, 26% said a fair amount. So again, that's kind of interesting data. How important was meditation or prayer? 20 out of 40. Oh, the highest was a fair amount, 16. How many days a week did you get light to moderate exercise? And again, this is going off the assumption they're on their health journey. So 12 people said 3 days a week. That looks like the highest, and the next highest, 10 people said 2. So actually less exercise than I would have thought. This was also interesting. Did you follow any of the following diets consistently for more than 6 months? And the autoimmune was the highest. But all of them had some. That was interesting. I do paleo, which I don't. Watched a cooking show and it was interesting, and that's the one my doctor told me to do. How many LLMDs, Lyme literate doctors, did you see before you began to recover? Highest number, 1. Awesome. 15 out of 49, that's pretty good. Next highest being 2. Cool. And I guess that, yeah, before you began to recover, that doesn't necessarily mean you didn't go to others, which was the case for me. How much total out-of-pocket expense would you say you spent trying to heal? This can include travel, expenses, medical bills, etc. 36% said $1,000 to $10,000. Of course, there's a wide gamut in there. $8,000 is a lot of money. Be better if it was 0 to 1,000. And maybe it will. Bobby K. Uh-oh, got political. Maybe. I'd say it would be, but it probably will be. So yeah, it's an expensive disease. What are your feelings on the American healthcare system after your Lyme journey? 20 got the highest, said horrible. Next highest was good, but could be better. I'm in that can-do American attitude spirit right there myself. Good. I've met good people. I've met a lot of really good doctors, but it's an impossible healthcare system to navigate when you deal with insurance. Were you ever unjustly removed from a practice or otherwise treated unfairly by a doctor to the point of causing you severe anguish? 26% said yes. Either I found all the negative Nellies in all the Lyme groups that I published this poll, or this really happened. And it happened to me with like 2 doctors. I mean, it's crazy what they're able to get away with. I think change needs to happen. Do you think the American health insurance system or Medicaid is effective? 50% said no. Check all the following that you tried and was beneficial towards your recovery. This is one, and I would champion it too, is infrared sauna. So I started to feel the brain swelling right now. And then exercise was definitely up there too. IV therapy, some other things to kind of look at what people have tried it and found success with. Cool. That's it. I hope any of this information was helpful, and thank you for watching.